let's go to Howard Kurtz, because he's going to bring on Nico Pitney from Huffington Post, and they're going to have a conversation about whether, Fox News is straight news or not, and Amanda Carpenter, who's a conservative commentator, will jump in towards the end here. Let's listen to 8.
Let me give you my 2 cents here, which is this is also polarizing now. You either have to take the position that Fox is a courageous news organization or a threat to Western civilization. I have criticized things that O'Reilly has said, that Hannity has said. Certainly on this program, I told Glenn Beck that he was being offensive with some words that he had for a Muslim member of Congress. At the same time, I don't think that an entire organization should be judged by a few commentaries any more than I think it's fair to judge CNN by the things that Lou Dobbs says. I mean, look at some of the people at Fox. I wrote down some names here. Major Garrett used to work at CNN. Bill Hemmer used to work at CNN. Greta Van Susteren used to work at CNN. Chris Wallace used to work at ABC and NBC. Did they all drink the Kool-Aid when they went there? Now,
yes.
Sometimes Fox's reflexive opposition to Obama bleeds into his news coverage, as you were saying, Nico, but I don't think it's fair to tar everyone with the same brush. You want to take that on?
Well, I mean, I think it does. I think you paint it a little too moderately. Take their flagship news program, Special Report with Bret Baier. George Mason University did a study. 80% of the coverage is negative. This is so far toward Obama.
And does that include the opinion roundtable?
No, just the first 30 minutes.
Well, have we had a particularly rosy year so far in terms of the economy? I mean, would you expect to be 80% favorable?
But no, but I mean, if you talk about fair and balanced, this is not fair and balanced in the news coverage. It's not just Beck and Hannity.
I think we've had a lot of bad news.
Well, oh, come on, you're kidding, right? No, Amanda, you're going to argue seriously that Fox News just happened to cover Obama 80% negative because there's just been a lot of bad news. How about the Clinton years? You go back, a lot of bad news there? No, the Clinton years had fantastic news, right? Our economy was at its top. Just about every indicator of social well-being was at the top of the 1990s. And from 96 to 2000, all Fox News did was negative reporting on Bill Clinton. And then what, the country was going great when Bush was in charge? When Fox News kept doing favorable coverage of Bush? Come on, who are we kidding here? What's the joke on here? But the more important part, and the reason why we played you this clip, is Howard Kurtz's defense of Fox News there. You see that? It was exactly what we're talking about. Wait a minute. Major Garrett and Bill Hemmer and Greta Van Susteren were all on CNN, the station I'm on. We're all, co-workers, and I know those guys, and we're friends. Are you criticizing them? See, they have an instinct to want to protect their friends, right, that are in the news, that are getting paid to do the same news acting as Howard Kurtz and other people on CNN are, and they have an interest in protecting their own self-interest. We had former Republican Congressman John Boutlier on, and he said the same thing. He said, look, one day Howard Kurtz or any of those guys could also be getting a big paycheck from Rupert Murdoch at Fox News. They don't want to burn those bridges. And they don't give a damn what the agenda is. You think Major Garrett is sitting up? Bill Hemmer, who's got rocks in his head. Have you ever seen that guy? He's probably the single worst anchor in the country. Okay, but he looks pretty. That dude is pretty, right? So he comes on there, he's like, hello, and he reads whatever's in the prompter. You think he even knows there's an agenda? He's way too stupid to know what the agenda is at Fox News. He's just like, look, where do I get the paychecks? And what do you need me to read? Okay, you want me to read that? CNN wants me to read that, and Fox News wants me to read this. I don't give a damn. You know how much news Bill Hemmer has broken in his life? No breaking news doing journalism. None. Zero. Not even close to 1%. Nothing, right? You think he knows what reporting is? What has Bill Hemmer reported on? He didn't report on a damn thing. He reads the prompter like an actor. So, and that's why the guys at CNN and some at MSNBC and ABC, CBS, NBC, etc., they want to protect their friends at Fox because they think, there but for the grace of God go I. I would sell out just like they did, and I'm not sure I'm smart enough to realize I was selling out. So I want to defend those guys, and that's why they don't, agree with the president, and they don't want to let the American people know that it's all a charade, that it's all fake, and that they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and that the whole television news is a fraud in a large way. Okay, you know what? Now that I'm on the attack against television news, let's keep it real here. I saw a great documentary on Frontline on Brooksley Board. And sometimes when you see great reporting, it reminds you of what the other stations aren't doing, right? They went back and they found who was right and who was wrong in arguing for legislation and regulation and who argued for deregulation, and they trace it to what happened in the current day and what happened in the global meltdown. They realized that Brooks Lee Bourne, who was in the Clinton administration, was fighting for the right things, and that the bad guys were Robert Rubin, Larry Summers, Alan Greenspan, who tried to destroy her and made sure that they did deregulation, which led to the disaster. Now, that's not pro-Democrat. All those people they criticized were all Democrats. Now, Brooks Lee Bourne is also a Democrat, but one of the other heroes is Sheila Blair, and she was a Republican. She's now in the Obama administration, and they were smart enough to hire her. Now, they should have hired Brooks Lee Bourne as well. But that was reporting, and it didn't matter who they were criticizing, whether it was Democrats or Republicans. Then you look over at, let's take CNN as an example. When's the last time CNN broke a story? Do you have any idea how many producers and so-called reporters CNN has? An ungodly amount. If you gave me that many reporters and producers, do you have any idea what we can do? Man, we would break hundreds, maybe thousands of stories a year. I mean, we would be so damn aggressive in trying to find you the actual news. And I don't care if it hurts the Democrats or Republicans. I could care less. Our job is to inform you guys. And with all that staff, all that money, all those resources, how many reports, real breaking news stories does CNN break? Not, hey, the administration just said this and we got it first. Wow, that's not breaking a story. That's being a stenographer and just telling you what the administration said. How many have they broken the last year? I would venture to guess 0. They broke 1 and I missed it. The year before 0, the year before 0, the year before 0. Maybe they broke a story here and there, you know. I think I remember 1 or 2 in the last 10 years. They're pathetic. They don't do news. They do acting. They do secretarial work for the people in power. And they don't want you to know. And if you figure out that Fox News is full of crap, the next thing you might realize is that all of television news is crap. And that's what they're trying to desperately avoid.